Wow, man, what's going on? Man, just walking here in the morning, just thinking, you know, praying, and just feeling very, very numb of what's going on with these riots or something. And I have many questions. I'm going to put this in my pocket for a second, turn the cam off. But as we're watching what's happening in LA, I have so many questions, so many questions. It's like, why didn't this happen during the Biden administration? You know, the last riot was about like 5 years ago, or peaceful protest, summer of love, Portland, Oregon. Remember the thing called Chaz? You know, and this happened during the Trump administration. So then, when it comes to the Biden administration, this didn't really happen. Only like little terrorist things that was happening, as in during a Christmas parade, guy in a white truck ran over pedestrians in a parade. Them type things happen. And then here comes 2025. I told you it was going to be live. You know what I'm saying? Everything that's happening and what we're seeing. You know, people talking about people talking about um, oh yeah, Trump's a tyrant. He's bringing the Marines and all that stuff, which I'm going to get into that. But I've been telling y'all for years, man, years. I say it's almost a decade now from being like on Maurice's podcast and other podcasts I was on. All this is going to happen, you know. And what do you think is the end game? What do y'all really think of the end game? What do y'all think about what's happening now? All right, we have. Sorry about the call. As I said, I'm just walking down the street. But what do y'all say now? Or y'all forgot. Got the memory of a goldfish. Biblically they said that this was that we were going into perilous times. And you know what? I says this. We're in perilous times. Anything can pop off anywhere, anytime, any place. Everybody's attention is on the riots. And I'm going to call them riots because that's exactly what they are. And no one's going to tell me different. You know? They say, oh, this is for the migrants, but they won't put illegal on it. I mean, on a for real, man, I'm sitting there looking. I'm sitting there watching. You know what I'm saying? What about these people right here? You know? I just want you to look around. You know what I'm saying? People inside their tents. And I can show you worse as I'm just walking down the street, you know, instead of like here. Meanwhile, the real Vegas is right here. You say, oh, I see 110, but I can take you places, right, where there's nothing but tents, homeless. But meanwhile on the strip, you know, meanwhile on the strip, everybody's happy. They got their money. Everybody's making money. You know that for the tax revenue that comes to this city, right? This is tax revenue. This city makes $8 billion a year just in tax revenue. All right, and where does that money go? The $8 billion. Meanwhile, I'm sitting there walking in Disneyland, walking into Disneyland, which that's what I call the strip. You know, right there is a Salvation Army. You know, and then you should see it during the day. And this is like blocks from my house. You know, blocks from my house. You know, I mean, this is a reality. You know, that I sit here and I see every day. You know, the real Vegas. You know, and I sit there and I wonder, right, out there in California, what are they fighting for? Hmm? What about those Americans, dude? You know, what about those Americans that are really trying? That I mean, that are really trying, and those that are homeless that do have mental issues and stuff like that. You know, and can't even do that because you know why? Because governors, politicians, and all that, they just don't care, and that's on both sides. Both sides, man. Democrat and Republican. You know, and the only man that's at least putting in the effort, you know, as I see it, I says I must go on by actions. You know what I'm saying? Put Trump's attitude, the way he talks, the way he is when he communicates, set all that aside. I'm talking like this. Actions speak louder than words. You know? I mean, the man ain't my God. I'm going to tell you that right now. He's just a man. You know what I'm saying? And also, just to start it off, okay, uh, I'm going to start this off with my beef with Trump. Because I believe me, I do. And they're like, oh my God, you have a beef with Jesus? Yes, I do. You know what I'm saying? Kudos to Margaret Taylor Greene. But, you know what I'm saying? I'm glad she put it out there on inside this big, beautiful bill. But according to my research, you know, it's a little bit, she was about like 3, 4 days late. You know what I'm saying? And coming out. And the thing that's really, really on my mind, right, is AI. And I'll get to the riots. But the states have no right for the development of AI. You know what I'm saying? So they have no blame. How you doing, brother? All right, my man. But hold on, get out of this party area. But as this goes on, you know, that the states that we can let AI go wild. You know what I'm saying? So they took off. So inside the big beautiful bill, there's no regulations under federal control. How you doing? You know, federal control. I mean, look at this, man. Every day, every day, every day I see this, man. It really saddens me. But the government can sit there and take control. I mean, took all the controls off of AI to have it innovate. All right. And lately we've been seeing how AI generated videos, AI generated features, and all that stuff like that. Oh well, it's our First Amendment, yeah, but the same thing that can be the best thing that can ever happen to us can also be our worst enemy. I mean, the information war is going to go to a whole new level, you know? And I agree with Margaret Taylor Greene. You know, because I wouldn't vote for the big beautiful bill just because of 2 pages. 2 pages on a big beautiful bill. You know, because government control on the innovation of AI is too much power for the government. The state should regulate it. You know what I'm saying? That the AI itself should be filtered. You know what I'm saying? And what it tells you, what it knows, and all that stuff like that, and what type of information that's coming out. But still that censorship. But on the other hand, even though I don't like it, that the non-controlling of innovative development of AI, you know what I'm saying? And for me, it's still a dangerous precedent that maybe he did this to equal the playing field on the development of AI. Like literally, like, you know what I'm saying? Choice of, I mean, literally just equal, you know? And that's still dangerous, you know? And we're gradually but surely, man, gradually but surely getting closer and closer and closer, you know what I'm saying, to basically, you know, coming of the Antichrist, you know? And I'm going to call it that, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it's sad, it's scary, you know what I'm saying? In a sense, it's scary, but it's not the fear that really bothers me. You know, it's more sadness than fear for me. So now I'm looking at all this here in LA, you know, oh man, all immigrants and oh they have rights and all that stuff like that. This country also they're using or will be using the brain talking points. Oh, this is a melting pot, and I says yes, this is a melting pot, but a melting pot in whose favor? You know, I mean, we have people, you know, flying other nations' flags, protesting our nation on the for real, man. You know, protesting our nation, showing their own hoods and all that stuff like that. And I remember a long time ago, and I sat there and I said that about peeling, um, peeling the onion of human nature, and it's getting uglier and uglier and uglier every day. You know what I'm saying? Uglier. And all this stuff that's happening, they brought the National Guard in. Now they have the Marines in. Then you sit there and you have people talking about, oh yeah, man, well they got it all taken care of and all the. I go, dude, I want to tell you what. I go, when you bring the Marines in, that's serious. All right. Now I was in the military. I know what the military got. You know what I'm saying? Because I was in the beginning of that. You know what I'm saying? I used to be a signal communication specialist, right? We just got this thing called MSC. This is back in 1990. All right. MSC was microwave satellite communications. What it did was they had this machine called a rat rig. They just kicked that to the curbs, and we were using cellular phone power. That was called MSC back in the day. All right. Also, we were using basic radios with crystals and all that stuff like that. We got into a thing called SINGAR, which that's what basically what the military uses right now. You know what I'm saying? And what single is digital radio, FM frequency, right? And what makes it, what you call it, what makes it encrypted was a thing called frequency hopping. Okay. Now, what frequency hopping is? Okay. Suppose you have a set frequency. Let's go. Okay. Um, frequency. I'll just use regular radio frequency. Okay. 106.5. Okay. So our base frequency that we're using, which is FM, is 106.5. All right. So then you have the whole band. You have the whole bandwidth. Okay, from your very first frequency. Okay, all the way to 108, 109. You know what I'm saying? 109.99 megahertz. Okay, from that base frequency, we can have a whole bunch of radios and put them on a network to receive. Beep. Now, what happens is that from that base frequency, which they actually call the Q frequency, okay, that frequency syncs every other radio, okay, which makes it encrypted. Now, the reason being I'm saying this because I'm getting into some detail here. That's when it starts going with cell phones, opinion, and all that stuff like that. You know, and you have a lot of frequencies all around inside these towers sitting there hopping. That's when they got their encrypted. That's where it comes to a more detailed form of encryption. All right, and this is what the military has. So your pre-scanners and all that stuff like that is not going to work. All right, because I do. I've heard those people that saying, "Oh man, well the hood, well we don't know what the hood got just as much as what the Marines got." No, they don't. You know what I'm saying? No, they don't. Now, 20 years later, they got satellites, AI, face recognition, all that, all the cameras, you know, all this shit. Okay, plus firepower, plus probably firepower that we don't even know what they have. That I don't even know what they have. They have an idea what they have. And then you have all these cats in LA, right, trying to go against something like that. You know, and it's very, very scary, man. You know what I'm saying? And the biggest thing is what I fear the most, that a lot of people's going to get hurt. You know, this ain't 1776. This ain't 1861 to 65. This isn't 1917. This isn't 1940s. This isn't the 1950s during the Korean War. This isn't the 1970s. Shit, this isn't even Desert Storm. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we got stealth, all that shit. You know, when they say that we are the most powerful military in the world, dude, they ain't lying. They're not lying. All right. And then there's going to be a stupid dumb fuck. You know what I'm saying? That's going to, if somebody's going to get killed, and all hell is going to break loose in LA. They could possibly start a civil war, and every other city's in danger. Look at this. Walking down the street, nothing happened. It's about 7 o'clock, about 7 in the morning. You know what I mean? Everybody all nonchalant. You know, oh, it couldn't happen here. But all of a sudden, all these bombs and stuff that start everything. And look at this right here. If a bomb hit and I'm under this thing right here, shit, I'm dead. And there ain't nothing I can do about it. All right. Why do I say that? Meanwhile, what's happening in LA comes to find out, you know, through the Batcave chatter, is that China is sending rocket, I mean, that China is sending rocket fuel to Iran. And Iran now, then Iran says they're at 60% enrichment of 60% enrichment of uranium. I think you have to have like 80 to 90% enrichment of uranium. Now, if they say that they're at 60% enrichment of uranium, and they're bringing rocket fuel into Iran, it's not 60% into uranium. You know. Also, all this money, okay, all this money that's funding this is going back to Adam Schiff. You know what I'm saying? Through I think what they call it like GMOs or something like that. I'm just gonna call them like basic slush funds. All right. So that's the money that's funding all this all this what you call it? That's the money that's funding these riots that's happening right now. All right. Something big is getting ready to happen, You know what I mean? Something really, really big, and it's brewing. This is all because people don't want Trump in office. And I don't give a damn what anybody says. Love him or hate the guy. All right, let's call it what it is. Let's just call it what it is. You know what I'm saying? Put the hate, put all that aside. You know what I'm saying? And look at the big picture. All this stuff is happening all the time for the past 2 terms so far. On the second term, this is happening under Trump's watch. And there's something that's very, very, very fishy about this. Then you have governors. Oh, especially Newsom. Come and get me. Come and get me. Yada, yada, yada. It's like a baiting type thing. I mean, right is right, wrong is wrong, game is game, real is real. And I smell game, and it's wrong, and this is real. And y'all just be sitting there just feeding into this narrative. Then trying to blame Trump for making it even worse than it is, which when it was already bad. I mean, it's becoming like Escape from New York, Escape from LA. And then the funny thing about it is I look at the fires, all right, because all this is connected, man. All this land, not many people got their permits to rebuild at the Palisades from the fires earlier this year in the wintertime, and all this was a land grab. Right? I mean, look what happened to Maui. All right, you have these cats sitting there wearing socialism brand shirts. Okay, I mean, y'all go, socialism is good. No, it's not socialism. It's democratic socialism. What the hell is democratic socialism? And what this is, what we're going through at this moment, is basically a communist revolution. And I'm going to call it that because that's what it is. We're going through the same thing what happened in Russia that when it turned to the USSR. Was back in the day they used to have that Russia used to have a monarchy, right? And they called it, I don't got no money. I'm sorry. Huh? I don't do no crystal, brother. And as this goes on, that Russia was a monarchy. Okay, I'm talking like back in the Lenin days, Rasputin, what's his name? Karl Marx would have been the Marx Manifesto, which the definition of communism is the utopian society, you know, and basically the Marxist Manifesto is the blueprint of actually true communism, right? So what happened in Russia, I think back in 1917, there was they Russia had a king and queen, but they call him the Tsar and the Tsarist, and it was Nicholas in Alexandria. And what happened was that they were they were executed. You know, they were executed by gunfire. You know what I'm saying? They lined them up and shot the whole family. Russia fell and became the USSR. Facts. All right, which is not like that anymore. But who's to say? But what I'm trying to say is this is the same exact thing that's happening. But at the same time, as you look back in 1861, you know, and stuff like that, when the Civil War started, you know, and it was the Democrats, slavery. I mean, basically, it's almost as if it's the same issues and it's playing the same way. Even though I wasn't there, I wasn't born in the 1800s. You know what I'm saying? Why am I trying? Why am I starting to feel that way? You know what I'm saying? Is this how a civil war is started? But let alone it comes out as, you know, which I don't think is going to happen. I mean, I don't think it's going to happen, but on one side I think it's going to happen. So it's like a flip of a coin, right? But at the same time, there is going to be bloodshed. No matter what, people are going to die, and I keep on saying that. You see, 'cause a lot of people want these social media. Oh, you're in fear. No, I'm not giving fear, but I'm just giving you straight facts and being practical. If this keeps up, it's going to wind up. It's going to wind up bloody. And then a crazy thing about it is that watching Andor, you know, I hear, and I was watching. I mean, I was watching a lot of podcasts because you know I'm a Star Wars head, and also with these different people that like Star Wars, just like I too. You know what I'm saying? Use the blame, use the blame narrative of that story, you know, against Trump. You know, like our government is the empire or something like that. You know, but at the same time, this is like there's like a different layer to this because I mean, right now at this point in time, we have an ideological civil war that's happening inside of our government. For example, Lindsey Graham, all right, them attacks inside Russia with the drones, okay. Lindsey Graham was there in the Ukraine as this happened. That's crazy. Isn't that convenient? We have a sitting U.S. senator that's inside the Ukraine as well. You know what I'm saying? While an attack going on in Russia, you know. So what they're doing is they're sitting there poking the bear. So then Russia comes back and bombs the shit out of blame Ukraine. All right. Now let's go back. Let's also look at this before all this really started, right? Because it's only been 5 days. Okay. And the only reason being because this happened to me. You know what I'm saying? This happened to me when the people that's actually doing the oppression are the ones that actually gets caught. Okay? In their own shit. So anyways, Elon Musk. All right, he sits there and the breakup of Elon Musk and 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 um and President Trump. Man, that was orchestrated. That was orchestrated. That was a wrestling match. It was a fake fight. And when I sat there and I wrote when that stuff actually started happening, I sat there and I was like, you know what, man? Let me sit back, let me watch, see what's going on. You know what I'm saying? And don't make it and don't make an and don't make an opinion on that. You know, and I didn't for a while. You know what I'm saying? I threw a couple memes out there and all that stuff like that. But when Elon Musk sat there and said that Trump is on the Epstein file, I knew that shit for over 10 years that he was on the Epstein file, that he was on a plane. I mean, what he said, what Elon Musk said wasn't anything new. It was already known. He even said he rode on Epstein's plane just to take his ass home. His plane wasn't fucking working, and it's proven on the logs. 10 years we knew this shit, but then you sit there and Elon Musk sit there and puts this out there. And what made me realize that this was a play was when it says, oh, when you have the Democratic Party sit there and go, oh, release the Epstein files, man, hook, sinker, swallowed it, man, it's already digesting. And then right there, they knew they fucked up. Right there, they knew they messed up. Oh, if they do that, then we got to start something else and stuff like that. And all of a sudden, here comes these LA riots. All right. Then we have these GMOs, whatever they call it like that, where the money's going, and then they were doing it by Bitcoin transactions, and they say they can't be traced. I want to tell you what. You know how you can you know how you can actually trace these transactions, all right, with Bitcoin and all that. A lot of people are sitting there saying, "Oh, it's not traceable." You know what I'm saying? Because it's on a blockchain. All right, I want to tell you something. Here's what's on record. You have an account above the board, before it gets into the blockchain. Okay, you deposit money into cryptocurrency. Now it's in blockchain. All you have to do is sit there and wait for it and get a whole bunch of organizations, right? All right. And every transaction that's coming in back into the regular banking accounts, okay, now you have a set of blame. Now you have a set of blame above water bank accounts that's not even inside the blockchain, and that's not even inside the blockchain. Okay? So now you have about 10, 20 brain companies that receive money from the blockchain through cryptocurrencies. You look at every single company and what they do. Why don't you look at every single company and what they do for the money received from the blockchain, from cryptocurrencies? Okay? You can sit there and just then you can find out where the money came from. It's that simple. Just because you might as well just keep your cryptocurrencies inside the blockchain instead of bringing that cryptocurrency from the blockchain back to your brain banks. You're going to get tracked. Period. You know what I'm saying? There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. You know? Like, you may have several companies, millions of companies that's receiving money from blockchains that's going into actual bank accounts. Okay? But all thing we wait for is wait for the deposit inside the other, wait for the receiving from the deposits. When the money comes into the bank, you're caught. Now all this shit is happening, man. All this is happening, and it's crazy. It's literally crazy, and some of y'all just don't get it. This is some sort of joke. But meanwhile, the smoke and mirrors, okay, the smoke and mirrors. That's a serious smoke and mirror. Not saying that I'm kicking LA to the curb, no, but that's what it's supposed to do. That's the diversion. You know what I'm saying? That is the diversion. You know, while the main stuff is happening. And what else could they be doing? They be doing these midnight special deals and all that. You know, now on they're doing this right now. They tracking money and getting the blame cats that started this stuff. And this happened inside of our U.S. Congress, Democrat and Republican. You know what I'm saying? Crooks. And the reason Brian Bean hate this man is because he exposed the blame game. You know, this is why me personally, I can give a fuck about both of them, Democrats or fucking Republicans. They're both crooks. And one man fucked their game up, and they're pissed, and they will destroy this country. You know what I'm saying? Because they're fucking with their money, point blank. Let's call it what it is. All right, let's call it what it is. All right, because the government game is no different than a street game. No different. You know what I'm saying? They just use bigger words. They got more pull because of the Federal Reserve. They can sit there and make money out. They can sit there and make money out of thin air, while we can't. Facts. The advantage is in their court. That's why he wants to get rid of the IRS. He wants to get rid of the IRS. He wants to get rid of the Fed. You know? He wants to get rid of all that. The same thing that what Kennedy tried to do, and what happened to Kennedy, and they tried to do to Trump. You know, they shot him, headshot. Y'all gotta wise up, man. I'm gonna show some proof soon. There's a lot of blame clips and all that stuff like that. But I gotta bounce. Y'all be cool. This is all a game that's played by deep staters. There's more to this than just LA. Pray for LA, pray for its people. But you know what, man? This may end up bloody. And I'm just being real about it. Peace, I'm out.
Flat night in my car, man.